Can I get a 1 2 1 2 mic check? Yeah, we're in. Canada, baby. Love me a bit of Canadian Grand Prix. Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is the Thursday night preview show ahead of the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix. If you are a Formula 1 fan, if you are new to the channel as well, please do consider subscribing because I'm live for every single qualifying and every single race from the Formula 1 World Championship, including this weekend's critical Canadian Grand Prix. We're already in up to round 9. We're already nearly halfway through the season. It's gone pretty fast. But yeah, if you haven't seen a Thursday night preview show before, it's split into 4 different sections. So we start off with a bit of history of the race. So obviously this weekend, a bit of history of the Canadian Grand Prix, going through some of the best ones. Then we go through a roundup of the news, just the latest news between the last race and this race, which isn't a lot, slim pickings because it's been about 3 or 4 days. So not expect a lot on the news. Then we do a rundown of the teams, what kind of results they've been getting and kind of what kind of form they're on, see how everyone's doing heading into this weekend's race. And then at the end, we like to do a bit of madman predictions. And I am a madman, so the predictions are not standard, put it that way. So yeah, who we got in the chat then? Hope the mic's all working fine. I had some trouble with that before I came on actually, but 1 2 1 2 seems to be all right. Chris Poundcoin's in, welcome in. Matty Parker, Ernesto, yeah, the usual gang. I swear this channel is just like in fact, let me close that a bit too much light. I swear this channel is just a Denver's crew meetup. Like it's just like someone from the Denver crew is live, so then we can all just chat to ourselves. Whether it was F1, boxing, table tennis, bloody big, dangerous sea bass fishing, it wouldn't matter. It'd be the same people. But that's what it is right now. That's what the channel is right now. A bit of a community get together. But that's how we roll, innit? Yes, Donald, welcome in, guys. Right, so. And before I get started with the history of the Canadian Grand Prix, before I put you all to sleep, I do it briefly, innit? But before I get into that, this is the schedule this weekend. It's a late night one. It's an evening situation this weekend. So you've got Friday practice tomorrow. First practice at 7 p.m. Second practice 10 p.m. So join me. I'll be live for both of those. Because obviously we're in Canada. They're 6 hours behind, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we've got late night ones. Qualifying 9 o'clock on Saturday. I'll be live at 10 to 9 for that. And then the Grand Prix starts at 7, a little bit earlier, but sociable hours. So we're not like Baku midday start. I'm live for quarter to midday now, mate. This is sociable hours this weekend, evening thing. So. Right, let's get into the Canadian Grand Prix. A little bit of history then. First race was in 1978, so this has been going a long time. This is one of the OGs of the F1 tracks. Last week we had one of the modern ones. Baku's only been going, like I said, about 5-6 years. This is one of the OGs, Canadian Grand Prix at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Now, why is it called Circuit Gilles Villeneuve? It's named after, let me just get these off the thing. It's named after this guy, Gilles Villeneuve. Now, he is known by people of a generation older than me because he raced in the 70s. He is known as one of the greatest of all time, Gilles Villeneuve, Canadian driver. And the first ever Grand Prix that was held here in 78, he won it at home for Ferrari. Massive. Unfortunately did die in an accident I think I was reading up on it actually, 1982. So short career. I think you only got to do 6 seasons, but in them days you have a big crash, you're gone. So Yeah, so the circuit named after this absolute legend. And this takes me to the first of the three videos that I've got in the description. First time I've done this. But yeah, I put 3 links to videos in the description. The first one of which is of Gilles Villeneuve, just so you can get an idea of how much of a legend this man was and why the circuit's named after him. Gilles Villeneuve versus René Arnoux, I think it's 1979 French Grand Prix, and you can see those guys go wheel to wheel, mate. They were just balls to the wall racers, and I think it's actually, funnily enough, I think it's Jeremy Clarkson's sort of favourite video, little clip of these two battling and banging wheels and everything. So yeah, harks back to the past, and also the Villeneuve name in Canada is massive because his son Jacques Villeneuve went on to win the Formula One World Championship in 1997. So this family's got a massive history. Hence the track's named after him. But yeah, that's the first little bit. Welcoming Keith. How are we doing? Yeah. Jacques Villeneuve, he was an OG, and it was when Jacques Villeneuve was racing. Now, I'm going to go through, just briefly, the best 3 Canadian Grand Prix. 98, 99, whatever, and then 2011. You can't, 2011 is a mad one. But the second video that I've got in the second link that I've got in the video description here to this is the 1998 Canadian Grand Prix. Now, you look at the highlights, and I've got the link in the video description. Look at the highlights for the 1998 Canadian Grand Prix. It is nuts. I don't even remember it at the time. I remember it years ago that there was a couple of accidents, but having watched it back recently on like research to do this video, like what were the best Canadian Grand Prix, watching it back, this is just nuts. Look at some of the pictures from this 98 Canadian Grand Prix. This is the same race. There's just pile-ups everywhere. It was just balls to the wall. At one point, Fisichella's got both front wheels locked up, got a dive bombing for the lead against Michael Schumacher, and like gets it wrong and just goes straight on at turn 1. Like, just hell for leather, pure racing, mate. I love it. Absolutely love it. This is another picture from the same race. 1998 Canadian Grand Prix. It's the second link in the video description. Have a look at the highlights of that. Absolutely nuts. One of the best races. One of the most insane races I've ever seen. In fact, in one part of it, Murray Walker's in the commentary going, I can't keep up with what's happening. Like, it's literally just people just rolling in sideways into corners. What? Murray Walker's like, I can't keep up with what's going on. He's absolutely nuts. But yeah, another thing that Canada's known for, you got your Gilles Villeneuve, you got your history, Another thing that the circuit Gilles Villeneuve's known for is the Wall of Champions. Now, this is out of the final corner. At the end of the lap, there's a little chicane. Well, say little chicane. It's you're approaching it at like 200 odd mile an hour. Knock it down 3 gears, chuck it in. Over one apex, over another, and then look how close to get to the wall on the exit. Well, some people get too close to the wall on the exit. Why is it called Wall of Champions? Because many a world champion has put it in that wall. Even from 1999 alone, this is another one. So you got 98 was chaos. 99, everyone banging it in the wall. So in just 99 alone, in this Wall of Champions went Ralf Schumacher, Ricardo Zonta, Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve, all in one Grand Prix, all in the 99. And since then, loads of people have been in this wall. Barrichello, Jenson Button's been in this wall, Montoya. In recent years, Vettel's been in this wall, Carlos Sainz has been in the wall here. This is just absolute nuts. This was Vettel in the same wall in 2010. So, this claims many a victim, does the Wall of Champions around Canada. So look out for that in the TV coverage or whatever you're watching, because that'll be mentioned a lot, the exit of the final corner, basically. So we've got 98, 99 when everyone stuck it in the wall, like that. And then the other Canadian Grand Prix to not only mention, but to emphasise, is what many people regard as the greatest race of all time, the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, especially if you're a Jenson Button fan. If you're a Jenson Button fan, this was the greatest race of all time. Now, for me, at the time, because I was massively into F1 during, 2011 was my fanboy era, right? And I was a big Hamilton fan. So for me, this wasn't the greatest race of all time, because Button put Hamilton in the wall pretty early on. So for me, it wasn't the greatest race of all time, but I can appreciate that this is one of the classics, and it is the third link that I've got in the video description is highlights of what many people say is the greatest race of all time, the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix. The two McLarens crashed into each other. Button and Hamilton were teammates. In my view, Button put him in the wall, man. It was brutal. And when you're a big Hamilton fan, that was heavy. That was heavy. But if you're a Button fan, it was amazing. So Button was involved in this accident, right? Then the race got stopped because of the bad weather, the rain. I think the race was stopped for like 2 hours. They restart again. Button's in more drama. Button's crashing with Fernando Alonso. Absolutely, you're thinking he's having a nightmare of a race. 4 pit stops and a drive-through penalty Jenson Button had. 4 pit stops and a drive-through penalty. He was dead last. I think he was dead last on say there's 70 laps. I think Jenson Button was dead last on lap 45. He was absolutely nowhere. But then he comes through the field, doesn't he? This is not called the greatest race of all time for nothing. He comes through. I wish I could play videos on here, but you'll get slung by Formula One management immediately. But I've got the link in the description for it. On the final lap, Vettel went wide, didn't he? Vettel went wide on the final lap, and Jenson Button won it. It's one of the most unlikely, craziest wins I've ever seen. Whether it's the greatest race of all time, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't go that far myself, just because of the memories I have of it. But it's certainly up there as one of the best. So yeah, they're just a brief little bit about the Canadian Grand Prix, 98, 99, 2011, and also a bit about Gilles Villeneuve. So that's a bit of the history. We'll go into Ernesto's excited for this one. Family in Montreal, is it? Yeah, that's where the race is held. Yeah, it is one of the best races. It is one of the best ones. Forgive me for probably saying that every weekend. Oh, this race is the best one. This race is the best one. But genuinely, Canada is one of the better races on the calendar. And they've not raced here for like 3 years. The last 2. Due to pandemic. So this is the first Canadian Grand Prix back since 2019. So yeah, that's a bit of the history, a bit of a news roundup. There's not a lot to go on really. There's just some news a couple of hours ago that the FIA will step in with the porpoising, and what they're going to do is they're going to start checking the floors of the cars and seeing how much wear they're taking, and they're going to put a limit on it and say, listen, your floor can't wear out more than this much. They're going to also look at the suspension that they're running, and sort of regulate what kind of discrepancy the suspension can have and how far of a travel the cars can have, which is sensible, man. I had a big rant on it on my watch along of Azerbaijan about the porpoising, and I said the FIA have got to step in, because the teams will just put up with it because they might be quick around the corners. I had a big rant about it. I'm not getting into it again, but the teams are their own worst enemy, when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm glad the FIA is stepping in, and they're gonna start looking at this porpoising and start putting rules in place. So yeah, Hamilton will race this weekend. There was a lot of concerns, but if the porpoising is as bad as it was in Baku, I see Lewis becoming seriously injured to the point where he will miss a race. So hope this FIA initiative to sort of regulate the porpoising more and regulate the teams a bit more with it. It seriously helps Lewis out, because I reckon he's on the brink of missing a race. But yeah, he's confirmed he will race this weekend after a lot of doubt. Not a lot else. What else we got? Yeah, there's rumours growing that, and I mentioned this in the watch along actually last week, that Oscar Piastri will replace Latifi. Now there's even rumours that Piastri will replace Latifi mid-season at the next race in Britain, the British Grand Prix. Now I would doubt that, but I would think at the end of this year, if Williams can afford it, obviously Latifi is brings a lot of money to the game, brings a lot of money to the team. But if Williams can afford it, I think they replace Latifi with Piastri at the end of the season. So look out for that. Rumour growing though, mid-season change. Will Williams go for that? Will there be stuff in Nicholas Latifi's contract to prevent that? I would have thought so. But yeah, watch this space on Nicky Latifi. He's not been. And even he said that he admits that things have got to change for him to keep his seat for next year, so he knows he's under pressure. Other little bits from circuits and their deals. We've got Melbourne with a massive extension till the end of 2035, so more than another 10 years for the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. Great news. It's one of the. It has become like a modern classic. I think they've been racing there since like the mid-90s. But yeah, it's kind of become a classic, the Albert Park race in Melbourne. So I welcome that news of a big extension for that, like 12-year extension. What a beast. The other thing, which will be really good circuit-wise, is that Stefano Domenicali, the boss of the, I think he's the, I don't know what his actual position is called, but he's the big man in F1. He's the big boss. He's called managing director, is he, of Formula One, something like that. He has been in South Africa with talks for Kyalami, so that's how you say it, to be in the F1 calendar. Now, Kyalami was in Formula One up until 93. So I don't remember any South African Grand Prix, but this is the one continent missing from the World Championship. We've got races in the US, we've got races in America, a lot of races in Asia, we go to Australia, we go all around the world, but we don't go to Africa. So South African Grand Prix just puts a ribbon on it. It's a world championship and they go everywhere. So I would love there to be a South African Grand Prix. It's something that Lewis Hamilton as well has been calling for years, and it is like a gap off the calendar. You've got these races queuing up in the US where you can have a race in Austin, a race in Las Vegas, a race in Miami, and they're all queuing up. You're thinking, we haven't got a race in the whole continent of Africa, and you want 3 or 4 in America. It doesn't seem right to me. So this needs to happen, and I'm glad it's under talks. Nothing confirmed, but we're under talks for a South African Grand Prix next season, which I would be all for. What else? There's some little details about the new F1 game. There's going to be where you can drive supercars. There's a bit called F1 Life. If you don't know, the new F1 game comes out on July the 1st. So they're just sort of teasing more and more details because we're only a couple of weeks from it coming out. But I don't like this mode. Like, why are they putting supercars in? I'd prefer the effort that they've made to build this whole like supercar mode. Just put that into career mode, a proper F1 game career mode. I don't understand it, but I don't buy an F1 game to drive a Mercedes, drive a road car around. Are you mad? So that's about it for the news. Not a hell of a lot going on, but bits and bobs. Right then. Latifi must stay. I didn't expect to read that comment. Yeah, Latifi must stay, Chris. Get your banners out. Yeah, weirdly enough, right, Latifi's been in Formula 1 3 years. This is his first Canadian Grand Prix. Will he get any points? Probably not. Right, on Nicholas Latifi, here he is. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Right, here is Nicholas Latifi. Points 0, championship position 21st. Brutal. Right, we're going to go rundown time, guys. Your ways, how we doing? Go-karts in it next to do qualifying, eh? Right, rundown. We'll go from the back of the grid to the front. We see all the results so far from the first 8 races of the season. So yeah, Nicky Latifi not doing too good. There's only 20 drivers in Formula 1. Nicholas Latifi is in 21st position. How's he managed that? There's 20 drivers, he's in 21st position in the championship. Yeah. because Nico Hulkenberg substituted for Sebastian Vettel for the first 2 races of the season and got a higher position than Latifi's managed in all 8 races. So Latifi's 21st out of 20. So get in. Yeah, look at his results. 16th, 14th. He's improving now, back-to-back 15th places. Go on, Nicky. I mean, fair play, he finishes the races, but damn, he needs to get some points on the board. Yeah, 3 points scored by Alexander Albon. 9th place in Miami he got. 10th in Australia as well. Can he scrape a point or 2 in Canada? We shall see. So that's Williams. Latifi special, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, when the F1 game comes out, guys. Yeah. I'm going to be doing a series on it. I'll be Nicky Latifi. Wouldn't that be a laugh? Should we be Latifi? Just for a laugh, mate. Save his career. Right. Next up, 9th place, Aston Martin on 15 points. I've added the World Championship stars now next to the drivers that have got World Championships. So I'm adding that little bit of respect. I feel like Sebastian Vettel, with the modern fan, is sort of known as just like an also-ran. I feel like Sebastian Vettel doesn't have the respect that he deserves. I feel like the modern, guys that have just been watching Formula 1 a year or two probably think Vettel is like, Bobbins, mate, you're at the back. No. This guy won 4 World Championships in a row between 2020 and 2010 and 2013. This guy was a beast. And I have represented that with his 4 stars next to his face. So, yeah. And he is coming good now this season. DNS at the beginning did not start. He missed the first couple of races, but now he's getting it together. Look, 11th, 10th, 6th. That's an upward trajectory, isn't it? P6 in Azerbaijan's a great drive, and that went under the radar. And even on the official Formula 1 driver ratings thing, he got a 6 out of 10. Are you mad? 6 out of 10. This guy got I'm gonna have to start doing my own driver ratings because I can never be bothered, to be honest with you, because I think once the race is done, I haven't got any motivation to then make more content or talk about something that's happened. But I need to do my own driver ratings because the official ones, mate, is rubbish. You don't get a P6 in Aston Martin and you're given a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 drive. Mate, driver of the day for me in Baku, P6 in an Aston Martin. Beast mode from Sebastian Vettel. Lance Stroll on the other side of the other side's only got 2 points, down in 17th in the championship. At home this weekend, Canadian driver Lance Stroll. DNF last time out in Azerbaijan, 14th, 15th. Lance Stroll needs to pick it up, man. Lance Stroll needs to pick it up. Anyway, let's move on. You crash it. Evening, Josh. How we doing, bro? Talking about proper 12. You can't be drinking proper 12 and driving a Formula 1 car. Gotta have a blackcurrant juice, my lad. Now we'll be on the... I might go and get a bottle of proper 12 tomorrow night. Right, anyway. Tangent. Right, P8, Haas. They're on 15 points as well, so Aston Martin and Haas are on the same amount of points now, despite Haas having such a great start to the season, with Kevin Magnussen's 5th and then 9th, and then 9th in Imola again. Despite their great start to the season, they've just stopped scoring. I mean, look at Kevin Magnussen, 3 DNFs in the last 4 races. Oh, things are going south, man. Things are going south rapidly. And Mick Schumacher, you know, he hasn't got a single point yet, down in 19th in the championship. Poor old Mick, come on, you got to get it together, man. What's his best position? Bahrain 11th, that were close. But all the other results look 13th, 17th, 15th, 14th, DNF 14th. These guys have got to pick it back up. They've got to get back in the points. They had a crazy start to the season. It's dropped off massively. They've got to get back on it because they're being overtaken by Aston Martin. Now both on 15 points. So let's move to 7th in the Constructors' Championship at the moment. That is AlphaTauri. Now their season has finally taken off. Or should I say, Pierre Gasly's season has finally taken off. 5th in Azerbaijan. I think it's between Vettel and Gasly who should have got driver of the day in Azerbaijan. 5th place, Pierre Gasly finally up and running after a run of look at that, the last few races, 12th, DNF, 13th, 11th, bang, 5th. Pierre Gasly back in the game. This is the man who I think will replace Daniel Ricciardo next season at McLaren. I think so. I think that's what's going to happen. Unless Daniel Ricciardo really switches it on. I think you're looking at Pierre Gasly being at McLaren next season, but that's just my little opinion. Right, anyway, we've got Yuki Tsunoda on the other side of the garage. Not having the best season, is he? 11 points, most of them from Imola with that incredible P7. But other than that, 15th, 12th, 10th, 17th, 13th. Come on, Yuki. Let's get on with it. So, yeah, they've got 27 points. 10 whole points from Pierre Gasly last time out. Now, these guys have dropped down, actually, from 5th to 6th in Constructors' Championship. This is, of course, Alfa Romeo on 41 points. And that's because he didn't get a single point last time out in Azerbaijan. Bottas got close with P11, but with the Ferrari power unit, absolute... Oh... The Ferrari power unit had an absolute nightmare in Azerbaijan, and Alfa Romeo used Ferrari power units. They all went pop, and Zhou Guanyu paid the price for that, and has done. Look at that, 3 DNFs in the last 4. It's like Magnussen. Zhou Guanyu, whether it's his own fault, whether it's a mechanical failure, you just can't get across the finish line at the minute. Only with just 1 point, 40 points on the other side of the garage with Valtteri Bottas, who's had a great start to the season, and look at his consistency. 6th, 8th, 5th, 7th, 6th, 9th, just outside the points in Baku, and it was a weird one. Alfa Romeo were strangely off the is it, am I buffering? Oh, was it buffering? I apologise for that. The internet's been a bit dodgy around here recently. We've had OpenReach. I'm back. We've had OpenReach messing around with all the cables, so I do apologise if it's proper glitchy tonight. Hopefully it'll be all right for when it's the proper race and stuff. But yes, welcome in, Farhan. You are back now. Oh my God, I was waffling to myself for a few minutes. Get in the bag. Right. That's Alfa Romeo. Anyway, Alpine. Again, 2 stars for Fernando Alonso. 2 World Championships. See, people forget. This is for the modern fans. People forget. Fernando Alonso's a double world champion. 05, 06. You know, it's nearly 20 years ago now. But yeah, Fernando Alonso's still going strong. And his season's picked up a treat. Look at that, back-to-back. P7, 7th in Monaco, 7th in Azerbaijan. Yeah, streaming Cupids. Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. No, we've had it. There's been. Oh, the internet's been dodgy for the past 2 or 3 days. So yeah, apologies for if I keep cutting out or whatever. We'll get through it. Yeah, Esteban Ocon with 31 points on the other side of the grid. So this team's moved up from 6th to 5th. They're on 47 points. Alpine on the up. And I might have predicted something a bit special for Alpine. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. P4 then, as they've been pretty much since the start of the season, sort of in no man's land, it's McLaren. Lando Norris 7th in the championship on 50 points. He's doing very well here, really, considering the car considering where the car is. He's getting the most out of it. 7th, 5th, 3rd, 8th, 6th, 9th. He's picking up points nearly every week, Lando Norris. Daniel Ricciardo, though, only 15 points, down at 13th in the championship. Daniel Ricciardo. Azerbaijan was the first time he scored points, actually, since his home race in Australia. But yeah, he's got he has got the second half this season now. We're not halfway yet, but he's got the second half of the season to really get on with it, or else I think he's going to be looking for a drive at the end of the season, unless he has a big turnaround. Yeah, that's McLaren. 65 points, not bad, but I think they'd scored a lot more points last season by this stage. I don't think they're doing as well, anywhere near as well as last season. But yeah, will Lando Norris get another podium? Was that podium in Imola just a flash in the pan? Is that the only one they're going to get? Possibly. Little look now then at Mercedes, the porpoising kings, and look, put some respect on Lewis Hamilton's name. 7 world championships represented by those stars. And I just thought, I've got to get these world championship stars on there, because people forget, because Lewis hasn't won this season, people think, he's washed. People, the spotlight soon moves on to, it's all about Verstappen and Leclerc. Nah, man. It's not all about Verstappen and Leclerc. You got to remember, this guy's a 7-time world champion, statistically the greatest of all time. I think he's 103 Grand Prix wins. Michael Schumacher 91, and then 3rd place in the all-time Grand Prix wins. I think Sebastian Vettel on about 53. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around there. So you've got, the 3rd most wins of all time is half of what Lewis Hamilton's won. So, put some respect, you know what I mean? But Mercedes will be back. They're struggling at the minute, he's only got 62 points, 6th in the championship, but they'll be back. George Russell has had a phenomenal start to the season. Look at that, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 5th, 3rd. Just incredible. 99 points, 4th in the championship, and arguably, if Mercedes can pull it together now, George has still got half a chance of being in the championship fight. What's the leader on? I think Verstappen's got 150 points. It's not, he's not a million miles behind George Russell. If Mercedes can catch up now, you never know. Sir Lewis Hamilton. That just about sums it up, Matty. Yeah, moving on to Ferrari then. No stars for these guys, you see. You think it's all about Leclerc and Sainz? They ain't got no championships yet. But yeah, absolute disaster for Ferrari in Azerbaijan. Double DNF. Both cars did not finish. I think it was it hydraulic issue or gearbox for Sainz, and a full engine blow up for Charles Leclerc. Absolute nightmare. This remain on 199 points, which is what they had after Monaco. And Leclerc drops to 3rd in the championship, with the obviously remains on 116 points. Sainz only 83. He's got less points than Russell. In an arguably, well, not even arguably, in a much better car than what George Russell's driving. Just 3 DNFs and just bad luck and all the rest of it combined, man. It's just been they'll want to put this first part of the season behind them now, Ferrari, and say, right, now from now we kick on. The first 8 races is what it is, and now we kick on. Because they're seriously competitive, but if you're not finishing the crossing line, you ain't winning nothing. So yeah, that's Ferrari. And finally, the championship leaders. Oh, I know, a cheeky 1 star for Max Verstappen for last year's World Championship. It's Red Bull Racing, 279 points. So what's that? 80-point lead now in the Constructors' Championship for Red Bull, and they've started to romp away. Look at Max Verstappen. look from Imola onwards, first, third, first. He's starting to get really into gear. And look at Perez as well, second now in the championship with 129 points only. What's that, 21 points behind Verstappen in the World Championship. But look at the last 3 races, Perez, second, first, second. This is a World Championship results kind of situation that Red Bull have got going on at the minute. Ferrari have seriously got to start beating them now. Ferrari have got to win in Canada. I feel like Leclerc's got to win in Canada to sort of say to Red Bull and say to Verstappen, we're still in this. You can't just brush us off that easy. Because you give Max Verstappen an inch and he'll take a mile, and he's starting to run away with it. So yeah, that is the team by team rundown. George looks like David Shrek. I'll have to Google that, Chris. I have no idea what that is. But yeah, that's the rundown. Now we go to the final part of the show. Yes. Madman predictions time. Right, what we got then? Let's get us through the minor positions quick then. What have we got? Right, so I'm going Magnussen P10. Yeah, standard. Gets back in the points, like we're saying in the rundown. Haas haven't been in the points for I think the last 4 or 5 races. Nick's a cheeky point, I'm saying. I go Gasly P9. He's started to get his season underway. I reckon he collects another couple of points here. I'm going Vettel P8. He's up and running now, consistently getting in the points. I think he'll do it again. Esteban Ocon P7 I'm going. Hey, and by the way, get your predictions in the chat, guys. Get your predictions in the chat. What I told you, one day I'll be right, and then we're all having it. Then the proper 12's coming out when I get these predictions right. I'm going now. We start getting a bit crazy. I'm going Max Verstappen 6th. What's he doing? This is the race winner. Why am I putting him 6th? This is the World Championship leader. Nah, the thing is, what I'm starting to think is that, listen, things ebb and flow, right? Red Bull have had it all their way, haven't they? I think it's going to switch up in Canada. I feel in a switch up in mode. I'm feeling a switch up in fortune. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling a switch in fortune, and I'm feeling trouble for Max Verstappen. Something maybe, I'm thinking this is like Mystic Meg, but Mystic Rob, right? I'm thinking Verstappen crashes in qualifying and has to start from the back. Wall of Champions claims another victim in qualifying. And then has to come through from the back, and then maybe has a bad strategy or a bad pit stop. Boom, ends up 6th. That's what I'm saying, guys. I go George Russell top 5 because I'm mad, but I'm not that mad. And this guy's finished top 5 in every single race. So I'm mad, but I'm not that mad. I'll keep George in the top 5. I got Lando Norris 4th. I don't know. I just feel like McLaren are due a big one. And I feel like Norris, P4. But this next one going to throw you off. Fernando Alonso. They don't call me madman for nothing. No, listen, right? I think he's going to pull out some magic. I think you're going to see some Fernando Alonso magic this weekend. Just against all odds, we nearly saw it in Australia and he put it in the wall. He could have been like on the front row of the grid. I feel like we're due an unusual podium. You always get like 2, 3, 4 Grand Prix in a season where you have an unlikely podium. I feel like we're due. We had Norris on the podium in Imola, which was kind of unlikely, but I feel like we're due a really unlikely podium. And Fernando Alonso is your man. And then is sort of a bit more normal. I've gone a Ferrari 1-2, but the wrong way round. So I've gone Sainz to win, because he needs to win. And I feel like I was looking at a stat before that says that, well, not a stat, but just information, that a lot of people have had the first wins in Canada. I think there's like 7 drivers. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I know Ricciardo's had his first win here. Hamilton had his first win here. Kubica had his first win here. Kovalainen. I mean, they were the only races they won, I think. But yeah, I feel like people break the duck in Canada, and I'm going for Sainz. So Ferrari 1-2, but the wrong way round. Alonso third. This is the way. And so I've got Sainz pole, and a new little thing I've added, DNFs. I'm going DNF. Perez, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Bottas. So I'm saying Perez, if luck runs out, Perez has been on a hot streak. I think that ends. I think the Red Bull table turns, and well, listen, Red Bull probably get a 1-2, you know what I mean? But I've got to create a good story, and the Ferrari 1-2 with Red Bull on the back foot this weekend is fantastic for the championship. And anything that's fantastic for the championship is fantastic for me, because I love a good story. Right, that's about it. Lewis will make top 10. Yeah. I don't know. Do you know what I'm thinking with Lewis? I'm thinking the porpoising's that bad that he pulls the car into the pits and says, "I'm not doing it, guys." How about that for a prediction? Lewis retiring out of injury. Even though the FIA have said they'll step in and sort out the porpoising, my prediction is Lewis retires out of injury, because he can't carry on. Then real rules will be changed. Then serious rules will be put down. But anyway, that is about it from me. Just a reminder of the schedule before I go. That is the schedule. Join me at 7 p.m. tomorrow night for practice 1, 10 p.m. for practice 2, a late one. So late evening all round. So listen, thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate you watching, because obviously, as you can see, quite a bit of effort goes into the preview shows. It's kind of a bit daft. It's kind of a bit daft that I go so in depth with it, but you only live once, don't you? Go for it, innit? Right, anyway, I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. See you later, guys.